You know, oftentimes I found myself interested in the players of Tenkaichi. So what better than to do a little talent scouting? So, let me just quickly search up for Tenkaichi. Go on filters for upload date. Let's go for today. And... Now, aside from all the Spanish children playing Ultimate Tenkaichi Tag Team AF version Latino on their phone, there is the occasional Let's Play. Now, mods are a whole other can of worms I'm not opening up in this ramble. Instead, I'm gonna focus on the good people of the Let's Play kind. Last time, I went to show many comments and tweets about the same false statement, and yeah, I could do it again this time, but I won't. I stand above ridiculing others for simply being misinformed about this game. I may not have been the most respectful to Tenkaichi fans last time, but I can at least try to be this time around. That being said, it happened way too often that I watched a newly uploaded Tenkaichi 2 match or Let's Play or whatever, and I couldn't help but notice the players keep playing Tenkaichi 2 as if it was Tenkaichi 3. To help showcase what was going on in my head while watching, I will recite one of the greatest geniuses of this generation, Lance Ryder Wilson.
What's that motherfucker doing?
I wish I would have such intelligence. Anyways, point being that a Tenkaichi 3 playstyle in Tenkaichi 2 is not a good playstyle to have, because the games themselves are vastly different. Now, I don't want to fault Let's Players for simply playing the game. I mean, they're goddamn Let's Players. They play through story mode and never touch the game again. As long as it defeats the CPU, it's good enough. Nah, it's the people that pretend to take the game seriously, you know, going on to talk about the series as if they know it inside out. Meanwhile, you dare mention cancels or, you know, actual tech and their arguing skills go Twitter mode, and you spend the next few hours arguing with someone who legit says, Tenkaichi 3 is just Tenkaichi 2 with more features. You win some, you lose some, I guess. So I do the obvious. I make a ramble documenting some of the differences between the three games. Note that I'm only discussing gameplay-related differences. For the purposes of this video, I don't care about graphics, sound, game modes, or anything like that. Those topics have been discussed in great detail by the likes of VRB Beta Patch, or most recently, Neosci. Also note that if I refer to controls, I will refer to the PlayStation 2 control scheme, as it's the most universal one. Now, originally I planned to put it all in the one video, but shit, my difference list has 48 goddamn entries. No way am I gonna fit all that in one video. So I'll split this list up into 3 sections. Offensive, defensive, and movement. This is the offensive part. Well, where do I begin? Oh wait, I got it. At the beginning of the match. So, let's choose our characters, start the match, and stop right here because we've already been thrown into vastly different situations. And no, I'm not entirely talking about the different HUD. Getting the obvious out of the way, Tenkaichi 3 is the only one where you're locked on at startup. Why is that important? I mean, it's not like you have no idea where your opponent is, they are quite literally pulsating on your radar. But what it does mean is that you have no idea what they are doing. There's plenty of strategies you could build off of that element of surprise alone. Charge a surprise key blast. Quickly dash behind the opponent without them being able to react. Charge a rush blast too. This seemingly tiny difference can have a pretty big effect on a match. Tenkaichi 3 matches start locked on, so these strategies don't really work at the beginning of the match. There's 2 more differences in this start I haven't mentioned. Can you find the first one? Time's up. It's the radar. It is also missing in Tenkaichi 3, along with the charge bar. Not only does this mean you have no visual representation of where the step-in barrier is, it also means once you lose sight of someone, you've lost them for good. The last difference isn't seen in these screenshots, but rather once we continue with the match. Tenkaichi 1 locks you in place until the announcer says, "Go!" This isn't the case for Tenkaichi 2 and 3. You can move anywhere you want before the match starts. The lack of freedom in Tenkaichi 1 of course makes setups at the beginning of the match way more difficult. But enough strategy discussions, alright? Let's get back to the differences. Now, here's where each Tenkaichi, much like a Twitter user with an underage emoji in their name, shows its kinks. Tenkaichi 1 being the most distinct of the trio, and the one I will focus on now. Every single character has the same 4 actions they can do when starting a combo, based on the face button they press. 5 consecutive melees end the combo. You can, inside a rush, press any of the other 3 face buttons for different actions. Triangle gives you a Ki cannon. Circle gives you a counter or an offensive teleport. And X gives you a heavy finish. Though Ki cannon and heavy finish are rushing techniques, the first game had no follow-ups for these. Adding to that is the charge meter. In Tenkaichi 1, every chained hit builds up charge meter, meaning you had to earn your smashes. Also, if you fully charge a smash, you could follow that smash up with a move called Dragon Humming. Then we have Max Power Mode. Your charge bar is fully built at any point, meaning you can fully charge a smash at any point in time. Also, pressing L2 and square initiates what the game calls Hyper Smash. Basically just a full power smash, but unblockable. This entire melee system is unique to Tenkaichi 1 only, with the exception of the Hyper Smash. So, how does Tenkaichi 2 and 3 do it? What is their melee system? Well, for starters, 5 melee attacks don't immediately end your combo anymore. Yay! But, how does one continue from the knockback of the 5th strike? This is where Tenkaichi 2 introduces its most genius defensive addition to the series. The Step-In. But we aren't talking about the defense this time, so what is it and how does it work offensively? Press X inside the step-in barrier, and you approach the opponent in a forward-leaning motion. This motion has invincibility and can be used to evade attacks, which I'll get more into in the next part of this ramble. After you finish the rush string, you can use the step-in to enter the second set. This is what you will use the step-in for most of the time, but it certainly isn't the only offensive use for it. To explain further, I need to talk about rushing techniques. So let's talk about rushing techniques! Now, in the first game, you had the heavy finish and the Ki cannon. Tenkaichi 2 not only added 4 more rushing techniques, those being the flying kicks, ground slash, lift strike, and rolling hammer, but it also completely revamped the way these are performed. Instead of the whole different buttons for different actions shtick, Tenkaichi 2 has it so that all rushing techniques are done with triangle, and the technique you do depends on how far you are in your current rush string and the triangle input itself. Which attacks those are depend on the character. The 3 main ones, being the heavy finish, Ki cannon, and flying kicks, have to be done inside a rush. The other ones, the ground slash, lift strike, and rolling hammer, if your character has them, are done by pressing these button combinations respectively. This is where the step-in comes in. Every character can use one of the 3 main techniques after a step-in by pressing triangle. Which one you'll do, again, depends on the character choice. This already adds worlds of more options in melee combat in comparison to Tenkaichi 1, and I have no idea which godlike deity out of the 5th dimension ascended down from the heavens to give Tenkaichi developers the idea for this melee system, but I do appreciate it. Then, Tenkaichi 2 added follow-ups to these techniques. These aren't too noteworthy, so I'll just list them real quick. The ground slash has the Dragon Tornado. The lift strike has the fucking broken air combo. The Ki cannon has the Ki cannon smash, the most creative of names. The heavy finish has the heavy crush, and the dash smash now has a sonic impact. I wouldn't say these are game-changing. After all, they don't add that much depth, nor do they give the player that many more options, but they are a very nice addition to the series nonetheless. Another addition was a follow-up to the Dragon Humming attack called the Vanishing attack. Not too big an addition, but an addition nonetheless. Also noteworthy is that the order of attacks after the full power smash doesn't matter, meaning you can also start with a Vanishing attack and follow it up with a Dragon Humming attack. Then we have Max Power Mode. How does it differ from Tenkaichi 1? The first major change is the Violent Rush. The Violent Rush is a technically infinite combo consisting of only the square button. As long as max power mode is active, this combo can be continued. Note, however, that after 5 hits, this combo can be guarded by simply mashing circle if done from the front. If you use it in your strategy, then don't do it from the front. Aside from that, there's plenty more to be had in max power mode. There's now a Dragon Heavy, which is just a heavy finish that is done while dragon dashing towards the opponent. Pretty self-explanatory. The Dragon Heavy also has a stylish ass follow-up called the Max Power Combo, where you pair it with a Violent Rush. Then, shortly before the max power mode runs out, you press triangle and follow that up with a Blast 2. This time around, max power mode also increases the amount of dragon humming and vanishing attacks you can do after a full power smash. By how much depends on the character. And that's it for the melee system of Tenkaichi 2. How does Tenkaichi 3 do it? Very similar to 2, with the differences being 1. The Ki cannon is now separate from the blaster wave, which had the same idea in Tenkaichi 2, albeit with a different animation. 2. The step in continuation I talked about before now has an extra smash added at the start. 3. Multiple uses of the same smash now end the combo. 4. The last hit of the air combo used to make the opponent lose lock-on. Not anymore. 5. Using Ki cannon or flying kicks anywhere but the first set doesn't end the combo anymore. Probably the biggest change, alongside 6. The rolling hammer has become a rushing technique and has no dedicated button combination anymore. Adding to that, Tenkaichi 3 adds one more rushing technique, the Rush Ki Wave, and a follow-up for it, the Energy Storm. Speaking of follow-ups, many more have been added for existing rushing techniques. We have the Delta Storm as a heavy finish follow-up, Aerial Barrage as a ground slash follow-up, Rolling Hurricane as a rolling hammer follow-up, Tri-Attack as a Ki cannon follow-up, Raging Impact as an alternative to the Sonic Impact, and the Power Press as a blaster wave follow-up. Also, yet another follow-up to the full power smash called Lightning Attack, done by pressing circle, has been added too. Now, let's quickly talk about Tenkaichi 3's max power mode, shall we? Gameplay-wise, not much has changed from Tenkaichi 2, except that the Dragon Heavy and its associated combo have been completely removed from the game. In turn, Tenkaichi 3 added so-called blast combos, which are just regular follow-ups, but with a smaller version of a Blast 2 added at the end. Also, the Hyper Smash has been changed. This time around, it's called the Perfect Smash, and is done by timing your full power smash just right. It also got a teleport instead of the camera change before, meaning you can do it from much further away and still hit. But I want you to remember the list I made previously. Points 1 and 2 indeed don't change the game too much, but the others? Alright, losing lock-on I already talked about, plenty of interesting stuff you could do there. And the ability to use flying kicks and Ki cannons anywhere in your combo is very powerful. These techniques are unvanishable, meaning using them to extend your combo doesn't give the opponent any more chances to defend. Also, the fact that you can't chain the same light charged smash, those differences are fucking huge in terms of combo building. And the rolling hammer becoming a regular rushing technique is also significant when considering that it is an offensive way to flank the opponent. The fact that this has become a rushing technique will influence how you use it inside a combo, if at all. I just want to put into perspective how these seemingly little changes can have a pretty large effect on a match in these two games. Building good combos in 2 requires knowledge in tech that just doesn't exist in 3. Let's change the topic, because jumping is the next thing I want to talk about. It can be used for both movement and offense. I will talk about movement some other time. For now, let's concentrate on the offense, which again has a system unique to Tenkaichi 1. A jump initiates a cooldown. In that time, you cannot do anything besides starting a dash. The jump smash and jumping Ki blast can only be done a few frames after lifting off the ground. I don't know why they implemented that, and it was removed in the game after, but hey, who am I to judge? Because that cooldown was removed, jumping can be a viable option in Tenkaichi 2 and 3. There's one more jumping related move that has been added in Tenkaichi 2. It's a version of the ground slash called the illusion slash, and it is done by pressing triangle after landing on the ground or after a jump smash. Tenkaichi 3 has this move too, but it has been renamed to spiral slash. To be honest, I don't know why they renamed it like that. Someone in the naming department must have been on that low green. And it can only be done after a jump smash now. Technically speaking, the illusion slash and the spiral slash are both the same, but there is one mechanic that I haven't talked about. Most probably the singular biggest change of the entire series. Time for one of my favorite things to do in these games. Canceling. No, hey, wait, you get the fuck out of here. I'm not talking about that kind of canceling. I feel like I have to reiterate this, but yes, the Tenkaichi series has cancelled. Well, that's a lie. Tenkaichi 1 and 2 have cancels, Tenkaichi 3 removed them. Probably because no one was using them anyway. Shit, I'm not even sure the game testers knew about them. If you don't believe me, watch Tunichi's video on canceling. It explains exactly how to do them. Great channel, by the way, check him out if you haven't already. Now, I could waste hours ranting about the different offensive, defensive, and movement tactics and options these cancels allow for, and why I personally believe removing them was stupid, but let's just say, this was a gigantic gameplay change. This isn't to say Tenkaichi 1 and 2's cancels are equal. Oh, by no means. Tenkaichi 1's cancels are also a little different. Again, after initiating a cancel, one enters another cooldown period in which they can't attack, meaning they can't be used to extend combos, even if you wanted to. In Tenkaichi 2, this cooldown doesn't exist, meaning it is possible to chain together strings with cancels. The ability for a cancel to chain together depends on a lot of different factors, so you can't chain all cancels with all characters. Just some. I talked about the illusion slash versus the spiral slash before, and the one thing that makes them different is the fact that in Tenkaichi 2, you can cancel it. That alone changes the move and the way you can incorporate it into your playstyle entirely. Here's an example I recorded a while ago. Gogeta's jump smash launches the opponent upwards, which is followed up by an illusion slash cancel to skip the recovery animation and make the ultimate actually connect. Ki blasts are an essential part of these games and criminally underused by the people who aren't familiar to the competitive scene. However, I can't really talk about them in this video specifically because they've been very consistent with them throughout the series. There is only one major difference I can think of. The transition from Tenkaichi 1 and 2's jumping ki blasts to Tenkaichi 3's ascending ki blasts. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the series has three types of ki blasts: regular ones, dashing ones, and jumping ones. Tenkaichi 3, on the other hand, made it so that jumping ki blasts can be done anywhere by pressing triangle while ascending. This, again, may seem small at first, but because of the way ascending ki blasts work, being able to throw them in the air means you can connect them in a combo anywhere on the stage, giving you thousands of damage points each time you use them. Moving on, of course, I can't forget the one thing that everyone talks about when discussing Tenkaichi 1. You can't transform in battle. Not only does this mean you can't involve different characters in your strategies, but that isn't all. Every Blast 2 gives you a cooldown that you have to wait out before firing another Blast 2. Now, this has all been explained in episode 15 of the Death of Tenkaichi series, but firing a Blast 2 and bridging the cooldown with a transformation allows the player to chain Blast 2s together, as the cooldown has expired when the transformation has finished. Because transformations don't exist in this game, this tactic can't be done in Tenkaichi 1. Another addition to this series is Tenkaichi 2 and 3's Giant Throw. Done by pressing triangle when the opponent is downed, this throw launches them across the stage. It can be used to extend combos. A very useful attack. Which, lastly, brings me to the throws. Actually, this isn't that big a change, but the input for a throw, which is up X on both Tenkaichi 1 and 2, is now X twice in Tenkaichi 3. This means you can't mash X to constantly step in, as you will initiate a grab. Could influence your playstyle a little. And that is it. All differences between the three wait. This is only the first part of a three-part ramble. Oh. You know, I tried to ramble as little as possible, actually. Trying to pack this video as densely with information as I can. However, I also want to put into perspective just how some slight changes to the game can affect gameplay dramatically. Thank you for showing interest in this series, and I hope this has been an enjoyable time for you.